getting asked recently if Moho can do frame by frame, Moho can do traditional animation, is Moho any good at hand-drawn animation? And I thought I would use a traditional animation technique to complete a project and just show you that yes, absolutely, of course it can. Maybe you're here because of some recent developments, maybe you are brand new to Moho, maybe you are a traditional animator and you just want to know what digital tools are out there, and this might help you choose Moho. So I actually have a nice little project here that I can use some hand-drawn animation for. There's a event in my city called In the Loop, and they're going to show some looping animations on the screen, and animators are going to meet up and have fun. Yay! And the theme is start. So I'm going to do something today that answers that theme using Moho and using frame by frame and showing you that it can be quick and silly and fun. So the theme is start. Start rhymes with heart, I know, and art. So I was thinking maybe I will import some reference I have of a very realistic heart. That's what I wanted to do. I'm gonna go yes. Perfect. So I'm gonna animate a morph, I think, and I'm gonna use the word start, a heart, and something to symbolize art. Yeah, they all rhyme. I know. I don't have time to come up with like genius ideas, I'm afraid. This is where we're at. This is where I am personally at. I've got like a million jobs at the minute, so this has got to be fun and easy. Cool. So if I click here on the new layer symbol, there's all the different layer types in Moho available to us, and this is how we add function or choose a new type. Frame by frame is the layer type that we will be using today. So this is going to enable me to be able to draw anything out on the timeline. If you're brand new to Moho and you are a little bit confused about how it works, it's layer based, not node based, and frame 0 is a build frame. That's where you make all your objects, and then the timeline is where you animate them. So we have no ability to draw any new objects or make anything out on the timeline unless we have a layer type that enables that, and that layer type is frame by frame. So I'm going to call it frame by frame so that we know exactly what we're looking at when you can see my window here, which is tiny. Hello, frame by frame. So we know what's happening. So now with this frame by frame, I have a tiny menu here. It's absolutely minuscule. This is the new functions we get with this layer type. If I clicked off a different layer, that menu disappears. So the next important thing, other than frame 0, that you need to know about Moho is that it is dynamic. So if I have a certain layer type selected, I'm only going to get the tools available to me that are associated with that layer type. So layer 1, which is a default layer that always opens in any empty object, any empty file, is a vector layer. I can tell this by the symbol. You'll get used to these. It's like a little kidney bean. That means it's a vector layer. So layer 1 is vector. Let me name that so you are clear. The heart ref has a symbol of like the PNG symbol. So there, I know that's an image. So when I click on image, I have only image tools available to me. So like the difference is that quite a lot for vector, scant for images. So with frame by frame, when I click on that, I get much more tools, and I get this little widget here, which is very specific to frame by frame. So it's literally just 3 buttons: new frame, delete frame, and duplicate frame. That's kind of all we get. It's very, very simple. But I like the simplicity. With the restrictions come answers, I think. So now with this layer type out on the timeline, I can create a new frame wherever I need it, and I can use my freehand tool here, which is Moho's like pencil or brush, to make any drawing I want. Let me just show you on a vector layer what the freehand tool looks like. So if I hide my heart, I come back to vector, and I select my freehand tool, I'm just moving my tablet. I forgot to do that. I can use this to scribble on my canvas. There we go. Up here is some styles that we can apply to that brush line. So if I scribble, it's going to be adopting what is in this style window already loaded in here. So I've got a black stroke and 4 pixels. Pretty boring. If I undo that and play with these. So maybe I want 10 just so we can see it. If I drag this eyedropper into a colour for my stroke, ta-da! I've got a 10 and a red. If I just undo that, let me go something really, really, really light grey because we're going to do a rough first, right? Right? And I'm going to want a brush applied to this. So if I click on the brush window, this little window here, it will open up my brush settings and I can choose any brush stamp I want and I can fiddle with this. You might have seen the lime boil stuff that Moho markets quite a lot, which is just absolutely wonderful, so much fun to play with, and that is where we mess with that. So if you wanted lime boil applied, this is where we apply it. So I'm going to choose maybe my friend Pierre's brush, the colouring dot, which is, it just looks like a hard vector line. It's quite nice. I'll turn the spacing right down. I like it chunk. Maybe I will add lime boil. Let's do it just to show you. If I put that on 2s and I wibble these two, so the smaller this one is and the higher this one is, the more extreme this lime boil is going to look. That looks very heavy. Let's click OK here and see what happens. So now when I use my brush, let me just zoom in there, we can see it's got some nice variation along the line. And when I play it and turn the curves off, we can see that that is boiling just automatically. We can play with that to our heart's content, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm going to come back up to my frame by frame layer. My stroke is grey actually, and that was black. So sometimes there is a secret little option here in the brush menu that like tint brush to using stroke colour. If you are dealing with making your own brushes, that's a little bit important. Some of these default ones, they are set to just accept a colour that you have loaded, but if it's not working, it might be this secret little checkbox there. So there, it's a hot tip. Ooh, there's a hot tip for you. So for a rough, that looks fine to me. So where am I going to want to start? I want to start at the word start. I'm not a typographer, so I'm just going to hand draw this. It's fine. So the first thing I want to do is I'm on my first frame. I want to start here with the word start. I'm going to add a new frame here using this button. If I click new frame, we can see on the timeline here, there has been a frame here added. Timeline runs just along the bottom of the screen there. So now I can draw whatever I want on this new frame. So I'm going to, maybe I'll scribble it. No, I hate it. Maybe I'll make it really nice and round. Okay. E for the eraser tool. And I can press Alt and click, drag side to side to make that smaller and bigger. So I'm just going to delete what I don't want there. And then F for my freehand tool. That's what this one's called. So I'm just going to keep drawing. I want something nice and round. I'm doing a morph, so I think I want this to be like really gloopy. Like blobby, gloopy and round. You know the type. And then I'll probably want this to boil. I think I'm a little bit off center here. That's okay. I can move these later. They're all vector objects, so I'm drawing with the brush and I can't see anything, but if I turned path back on and chose a vector tool, you can see there, those are my lines and those are my vectors. So using this knowledge, I can change anything after the fact. It's so malleable. So if I grab all these points, press T and move them to get them more towards the center. I'm just using some draw tools here, so all I did was select points and transform points. So I just selected them and moved them. I've been using Moho for 10 years, so I know all the shortcuts by now. It becomes such a lovely fluid software to use. But if I'm too fast, don't panic. I will keep going over and over and over and over what I'm doing. So there we go, I've got the word start. I love it, perfect. I'll turn curves back off, I don't need them. So now with my freehand tool, cool. So if I'm thinking just in rough terms, I'm gonna play the timeline and think about where I want the next key pause to be. If I played that, I mean, it's set to 50 by default, my timeline, and I think that is about the right time anyway. So maybe somewhere around 35 frames or maybe even 50, I might draw my next thing, which is going to be the heart. So what I need to do now, frame by frame layer, I'm on my timeline, I just need to press new frame. That will get rid of that old frame. There's nothing drawn on this piece of paper. Imagine if this was a new piece of paper. We have a start, and then boom, it's going to change. I want my reference here now so I can see it, and I want it to be quite faint. I won't be able to see my line over this, so I'm going to double click on this layer and just change the opacity here. This is the layer settings of any layer. You can just open these by double clicking and change any parameters you need to. What's awesome about Moho is that everything here is animatable. If you click this checkbox, animated effects, when I press OK here now, opacity will be animated. It will auto create a key. If I don't want that animated, I just want to make a global change right now. I want to change to 30%. I click OK, and there we go. My drawing is more faint, so I can draw over it. So going back to my frame by frame layer, remember I have to choose the layer type to get the tool available. There's no freeform tool there, but there is here. If I press F, now I'll just do a sketch. I might need to zoom in. And then I can envisage this like beating and maybe blobbing, or, you know, blobbily, like beating blobbily. That's my brief to myself. I don't know what any of these bits are. In fact, I hate thinking about the heart, the human heart. But like I can imagine, like, you know, like little gushy bits of blood, gross, coming out of this in my animation. And I can deal with that later. For now, I just want my rough times and my plan. Remember, this is my rough. It can be as shit as I want it to be. Nobody is watching, right? You can't see this. So if I turn my reference off and have a look at that. Ew, turn it back on because gross. I have absolutely no idea how this is going to move. I mean, we know it beats, but how? Okay. How's about that? Turn my ref off. Cool. So if I just use the directional keys on my keyboard, I can forward and back tab to each frame. Like so. Start, heart. The start's a bit big, heart's a bit small. I think that'll be fine. And then maybe let's be evens about it. So I'm definitely going to have to extend my timeline because I want another drawing here around frame 69. I can do that by just typing a new number in here, or I can just click and drag side to side, and that will change the length of my timeline. But I am actually going to write 150 in here. Should cover me for a loop. Okay, so my frame by frame layer, I've got my two drawings. I want a new drawing here. What do? We press new drawing. My heart disappears. I'm on my new frame. And now I need to draw some sort of pencil. I have no reference for this. So let's rough it in. I mean, we all know what a pencil looks like. And the Quick Draw logo is a pencil, or they often use a pencil, and it's nice and bendy. So maybe I'm copying here, but in a homage way. And we're animators. We don't have to be super stuck to the physical rules. Okay, I definitely want to move that over. So I'm just flipping backwards and forwards here, but we do have onion skin in Moho. So all I have to do is enable that to have a look at my my last pose without having to check back. And that is here on the timeline. If I just click enable onion skins and I have a little marker appear here on my timeline, I can move that wherever I want, but obviously there's not much happening at the minute on my timeline. I only need to look at the last image so that I can see that there. And now using my vector tools, G for grab points and T for transform points, I'm just going to move that into the middle so that it's somewhat all happening at the center of my stage or my canvas. Cool. And then that is going to need to loop. So somewhere at the end here, I'm going to need another frame, but it is going to be an exact copy of my first frame. So on 105, frame 105, say, I'm going to come back here, select this with my mouse or my pen, Control C and Control V. It's going to paste wherever my playhead is. So my playhead was at 105. There we go. So then my loop can actually end at 104, but let's set it to 105 now just so we can keep checking. So if I play that, start, heart, art, start. Cool. So all that animation for the morphs will happen in the middle here. Like this big area here on my timeline is going to be full of keys. And then it's going to hold the heart for a little bit. The heart might beat, and then it's going to transition again around here into my pencil, and then we'll hold the beat, and then the pencil will transition into the start. And I'll just use morphs for that. And I love morphs because you can just make that shit up. There's no rules. We just need that start and end frame, and then maybe a breakdown in between the two objects. And then as long as you have some nice, sexy ease in, ease out, and we can do loads of extra stuff in Moho as well, like squash and stretch the layer itself. We can add bonds, we can add all sorts. But I am going to try and stick to just frame by frame for this, so that if you're coming from Flash, it's nice and fun and simple. We don't have many traditional animation tools, but we do have everything you need, I promise. Okay, so there's my keys. Now, I am not the world's best morph animator, but I do know I'm going to need some decent breakdowns in between these key poses to help me plan the motion. Now, I know for a fact that Moho is quite pliable, so I can make changes after the fact anyway, because we're working with vector objects, and I can fudge a lot of stuff after the fact. So I don't even really need to get completely married to my breakdowns. I don't have to get married to my keys either. So, but it does mean that I need a planner. Like my next step here now would be to break down between start and the heart. So between these two, something in the middle there that will inform what I do for the rest of my animation, and then we'll do the heart and the pencil later. Now, you do you all the live long day, but I have used a colour system for my entire career that's been the same on any job, no matter what the medium, and that is red for keys and orange for breakdowns. So I'm going to just colour all my timeline here in red, because those are my key poses, and I do that by selecting a keyframe, any keyframe of any type. This is just a frame by frame keyframe, and I have my keyframe window docked here. If I didn't, it would look like this. No keyframe window. But I have a button here where I can open up options for my keys. I can also right click any key and get the same options. So here we can change whether we want smooth, linear, step, blah, 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 cycle. Because we're frame by frame animating, these are less, well, they're not even just less useful, they're useless. But we do have down here labels, and we can choose any colour for a key. So I always use red for keys, and for a breakdown, I would use orange. So if I create a new frame here on 25, this will be like the halfway point between my start and my heart. I'm going to press new frame, create a new key. That key there is no coloured because it's new, we can't set a default colour. But I'll colour it orange for my own sense of purpose. So I'm like, oh, okay, there's my breakdown. Sorry, I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, there's nothing on it yet, that's why. So it's when it's empty, it's grey. So what I need to do is to set up my onion skins. So I have onion skins enabled, but I haven't got any markers on my timeline. All I have to do is select a marker there and a marker there. So I have my heart and my start there. Green is where I'm going. That's how I remember that. And red's where I've been. I have to come up with like stupid little poems, otherwise I would just die. Cool. So using my freeform tool. I got rid of my brush. Sorry, I did just break for lunch. So there's that happened. My God, I can't remember this. It would have been like 2 and something chunky, wouldn't it? I'm a chunky girl. Okay. Oh, and my spacing would have been 0. Great. Probably that. Doesn't matter. This is my rough. Remember that this is my rough. So in between these 2 poses, I need to draw a new shape for my breakdown. So I'm thinking about where start is going to become this heart. And that is cool because we've got like, I think they're ventricles or veins, arteries. I don't know medical words, but like some of these can morph up here and become this like vein, maybe like this, the top of the T can come over and curl round, and the A looks almost perfect for that like weird tube thing. And the rest can just like morph in. Maybe like we're gonna need some visual interest, so some can go above and some can go below, that kind of thing. It doesn't matter. We're just going to start scribbling, see what we can do. So it's somewhere halfway between. So maybe the T comes up like that. I'll tell you what I will do, because this has immediately annoyed me. I'm going to come down here and in my onion skin menu, there's draw behind is an option. An animator I worked with called that the most useless function ever. And I just showed you the best use for it. I really like it. So in your face. Cool. So maybe the T will head up there. Maybe this T will come here like this. They're going to have to like break apart, aren't they? So this is going to have to... I'm thinking halfway. Like I keep saying, I'll change my mind. I'm the kind of girl that changes their mind quite a lot. Halfway between this and this for the A. Maybe this unfolds somehow and breaks apart. What can the S do? What are you doing, S? What are you doing? I just bit it. That can just... Okay, sometimes onion skinning. Oh God, that's not much of a plan, is it? Sometimes onion skinning lulls me into a false sense of like, you've got this, it's fine. And then I realise it's not fine. Bottom of the A can come down, the top of the A can grow up and around. So we've got that from the A. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so there's the form of that. Like I said, not the best. Not the best at all. Morph animator. Crumbs. But you can see if you look at the A there, you go back and forward, like that's fine, isn't it? As long as one of them is fine, probably where the eye is looking the most, it's fine. Okay, great. So now we've got the heart and the pencil, which might require more thinking about, or actually the exact same amount of thinking about. In fact, I am not going to think about. So if I put my onion skinning on again, and because all my frames are equidistant from each other, my onion skinning is like working perfectly there. So it's still checking the same frame forward and back. Right, so heart, art. Be nice if it, oh, no, I know, we could go like this way, like loop. Like it could melt. Oh, it could melt. Yeah, it could melt. What would happen to the bottom of a melting heart? It could drip off the screen. Oh, I love being an animator. Okay, so this could melt. This could melt down like this. This could sort of grow out like this. You can just, I mean, what are you? You could come out. You can just blob off. Some stuff can just blob off, and then you could just goop, gone. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Look at that. silly. Or is it? I just add another blob. All right. Make that blobby, super blob. Look at, see, it's perfect. You tell me that's not perfect? It's a perfect plan. No. I'm not scared. I will be able to make anything work, I think. That is the absolute magic of morphs. God, that's gross. And then the pencil, let's call this done because my toxic trait is not overthinking things. And let's right click this, label orange. I wish you could set shortcuts for this. You can't, by the way, I know. Everybody pressed a Moho for this. Now what I will do though is if I press this button, keyframe details it's called. If I hover over that, sorry, so you can see it. Hello. It's called keyframe details. It opened on my other screen, so I'm going to yeet this into here, and this is what I was using nested here. So whenever I choose a frame here, my keyframe details are all here. So the interpolation, the whole, the blah, 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 the colors, the labels. So I will show you. You just have to go to your window, docking, and then choose keyframe to dock, and dock. It will always dock there. You just scroll down on this little window here, and there's your colors. So I usually store it there so it's right there to hand, and I don't have to right click and mess about. Okay, so I just said, yeah, underthinking, my favorite thing. So let's go for the next one. So the pencil has to morph into start. So if I onion skin here, we've got the pencil and the start. So I need a new frame. So I'm just going to press new, and then I know I should do something fancy. Jossie Duritz would probably do something fancy. I don't care enough. What can I do? This one was really blobby. This one was... Oh, no, I've gone blobby everywhere. Maybe it's just going to blob into a pencil. Maybe it's going to just melt. Everything is just going to be like half... like oh my god, this is basic. It's basic, but so am I. There we go, it loops, yay! So what we really need now are just some ease ins and ease outs, and maybe a few more keys that define a little bit more about what's going on around the breakdowns. So I'm going to concentrate my efforts around the breakdowns, getting into and in between those key pauses and the breakdown. And then for the rest of it, I can just like really softly cushion out and really softly cushion in. And that will make it look hopefully as good as I can make it without overthinking something. So I'll work on those now. Maybe I will go somewhere fun. I think the heart to the pencil is going to be the weirdest. So where would there be a half? I can change the timing at any point, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it somewhere on the timeline where might make sense to me. So this is almost like it's going to be another breakdown between the breakdown and the pencil. I need to know how it gets from here to here. Maybe I'll put it there actually. So if I put a new frame there, put my onion skins on. That's all I need information wise. Okay, so we're thinking more about the form of the heart now. So where does some of this go before? So it's not a straight in between, but like nearly. And oh, so yeah, so we know we've got a dribbler. So the bottom of this heart has to do this first. Maybe we'll have to focus on some separate bits as we go and form the dribble. I hope you can hear me. Sorry, there's a very awkward exercise to do with my microphone in this current setup. I'll try everything I can, I promise. Cool, okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. That is, that's fine. And then maybe I'll do this now because this seems quite much more simpler. So there's the pencil, and that's where we're going. So then nearly an in between. I think that's going to be way too simple. Cool, cool, cool. And then where else do we need one? We need one here. Start into this. Cool, okay. So then we need one here. Let's go here. Onion skins again. Let's try and figure out how this word is going to transition. Maybe I'll do a bit more of like a breakdown there rather than the rest of it. I've just sort of in between, don't I? It's okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm trying to save myself some work. I can't do much with that there though, to be fair. And this, maybe it'd be cool if this went skinny and then went, no, skinny and then like that. And this is starting here. It's gonna have to come in. Cool. And then this up. This is a straight in between. Sort of. And something like that. So you're gonna come down. I need something to go. I need something. Sorry, my pen just got stuck. To blob off there to become that. I need this to start almost floating down like that. Oh, easy. Press play. Sweet. Okay. So if I carry on just doing this, I might speed this up because this maybe my stream of consciousness is I don't know. It seems boring to me. It's more of the same. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not doing anything special at this point. I'm literally just doing breakdowns in between breakdowns. So I'm going to do one into the other stuff. So one there between there. So on the other side of my breakdowns, basically. So I will just do that. You might have just seen me use the magnet tool there, just to mess with what is already been created. So because I'm using the freehand tool and Moho as a vector package, I can also use the magnet tool to further manipulate the lines I've put down. it's so handy to have because it's so quick, and it's something like if you've drawn something and you're okay with it, but it just needs a little bit of messing with. It's kind of like that, and it really helps me visualize as well, like where things are going and where things are coming from. So just a top tip from me there. It's probably my most used tool in the whole of Moho. Yeah, I think this is going to work. So now I might just do some tiny eases just to make those final key poses really, really obvious to the eye. And what I mean by that is here where it ends in the heart, I need this heart to read. I need it to be really, really nice. So what I'll do is I'll just do like really close in betweens, and maybe I'll draw something halfway and then move it down my timeline. But just something that really closely matches that final keyframe so that you read it as a nice fluid morph. Easier said than done. It's a weird shape. Yes, so maybe one more, a really close one. So I've just drawn that, and I'm just going to move it down my timeline to there, and then I'm going to do a half here. So if I just need a new frame, set my onion skins back up. So this is going to be nice and tight now. Remember, this is still my rough, so I still got a lot of work to do. Animation takes ages. But the great thing about morphs is they don't exist, so no one can tell you you've got it wrong. Love that from me. If any doctors are in my DMs telling me that this is not how a heart morphs into a pencil, then that's just something I'm willing to let happen. I'm using my tablet for this. I'm not a native tablet user really. I don't often have to do frame by frame work in Moho. I mostly get hired for rigging and cutout animation. I have done lots of hand-drawn animation, but not in Moho specifically. So I have my keyboard just under my tablet screen, and I am using the if you press and hold the space bar, it will give you the hand. I'm using that to dolly around my screen, just in case you wanted to know. I'm pretty sure shift and right click will zoom in and out. Yep, I've never used that. I always have my mouse ready as well. Just in case you were brand new and you did not know that. There you go. Right, let's just see what this looks like. Yeah, that'll work. Perfect. Okay, cool. I've also set up some temporary in and out points on my timeline here. Just control click and control right click for in and out. Really handy to have. So, and to get rid of them, you just do the same thing. Control right click, control left click. Just set those just so you can watch a tiny piece of your animation. Great. What if we just sped this up? Oh, you know I love underthinking things. Oh, perfect. I'm not going to do any more than that. I might do one more here for like a really tight ease out. Just so it looks like I've done more work than I actually have. This is what I also love about morphs. They look more impressive than they are. Yay. No offense. No offense, people. It's not as actually as tight as it could be, but it's okay. I could slow this right down by having more. But honestly, I just need to get this finished. I just wanted to do a quick tutorial to show you guys something that you'll actually hopefully use. Like how many of us have got to do like hand-drawn morphs for reasons? Okay, let's play that. Do you know what? Now that it's fast, let me turn onion skin now. This one, I think I want to pull this one out a lot more. I'm using the magnet tool again, my favorite. See how quick you can just be like, oh, okay, no, I need that to not catch the eye so much. I need it to smoothen off. Is that the word? Smoothen off. So I'm just going to drag those out using... I might need another one. I might need another one. Okay. Not to worry. Just going to pull all these up. Yeah, it's too fast, isn't it? New frame. Onion skin. Because this, I need this to like rip off and disappear. So like it becomes gloopy bit here. Gloopy bit here. And then maybe has like a rip. Yes. Okay. Smooth enough. If you're thinking, how do you know what to do with your in-betweens? The answer is I don't. I literally don't. I don't really have a plan. Sorry to disappoint. I did do Adam's Animation Academy's Cleanup and In-Betweening course by Harriet Buckley. She is a freaking legend. And her Cleanup and In-Betweening is just masterful. Masterful. The opposite of this. Masterful. Truly. I am very much the type of animator that will try and get away with as little as possible. Trying to do as little work as I can. And not always effectively. I mean, this is working for me. Like, I think I've found my new calling. I love this. But Harriet Buckley's course is really, really focused on just every frame is a masterpiece and following imperfections through from frame to frame, and just that whole finding the form. It's absolutely splendid. I definitely recommend it. I didn't finish the course because I'm too scared to. And also I will busy myself with Moho if I can. So yeah, let myself down there. But when you know what to do, you know what you can get away with not doing. Do you know what I mean? So maybe some of it's gone in there and made me more awesome and I haven't realised it. I don't know. Right. And one here. Put a little hole there. Maybe a little hole there. A little a-hole. A-hole comes in there. Cool. Do you know what? What if that's finished? What if I don't need any more? What if I don't need any more? What if it's finished? There's my rough. See? So if I call this rough, so now we know what it is. It's my rough. I can use this as a guide. I think I will do that. I don't want to mess with the lines I've got on there so far. There's nothing on there that's good enough to like colour, for example. And we don't work traditionally like this, like other software packages where you're used to doing your tie down or your line, your black line, your final line, and then you use that to colour. You use that to like create a new layer underneath and then, you know, multi-fill or paint the TV paint I love where you fill in one shape and it tracks it through. There isn't that in Moho. That is true. However, what we get to do in Moho is skip out that step of doing the tie down separately and then the colour. That we just can combine it into colour and clean at the same time, like clean and colour. And we can do that using some techniques that will help us track the colour all the way through. We don't really have the paint bucket. I would say stay the heck away from the paint bucket. Do not draw a shape and then fill it with the paint bucket. That is not really the done thing in Moho. The paint bucket does not work how you would expect. What we would do instead is build a solid shape that already has a colour and line applied, and that's what I mean about doing the clean and colour at the same time. So we don't have many frames, luckily. Like there's not much going on here. And I want the colours to be fleshy and bloody and horrible and veiny. It's very my vibe. So I'm thinking about these kind of colours here over here on the standard swatch. On the basic colours swatch, we have like some meaty reds and some, I mean, it's disgusting, but like that's what I'm thinking. So I'll pick a few of those colours, place a palette in my on my screen so I can grab it easily, and we can just use that and clean up and colour as we go. My rough is enough of a good guide because I've done all these like tweening, this in-betweening. Also what we can do is we can like, once we're moving forward and we're making coloured vector shapes, with like there's so much we can do. They're so pliable. You've already seen me change things with the magnet tool as I go. That makes it look so much more elevated, helps me with my in-betweens, helps me like, it's more intuitive on my eye. So we can do a lot of that as we go as well, so it does save time. It does, I promise. It's just a different way of working, and I don't want you to panic just because it's new. It's different, that's all. It's not better, it's not worse. I quite like it. I think it's fun. So having said that, I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea, and then I will be right back